Welcome, friends, to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. Guys and girls, you know the drill. I'm a retired New York City police detective. And if you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll get all things DutyRon and Ed Wallace when we go live or upload another video. And today on this Sunday, well, it's afternoon officially here in the Northeast. We're going to talk about Alex Murdaugh. The trial and the state has rested. On Friday, the state rested. This has been a trial that's been watched across the world, and people have been chiming in with questions and comments for Ed Wallace and I, because, you know, this trial is going to rely on, and as we know, forensics of electronics, forensics from the crime scene, and all the different cell phone data and computer data that we've heard over 20 days of testimony, 20 trial days of testimony, and the defense is going to have the last go at it. So before I get into it, I want to say a special thank you to you, the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the replay viewers, the moderators, the subscribers, and everyone who positively engages in this community. I give thanks and praise to each and every one of you for your likes, your subscribes, your shares, your comments, your questions that you send in. And I hope everyone enjoyed our forensic pathologist, Dr. Eason, was on with us on Friday night. I hope you guys watched that replay and gave that a thumbs up and shared it out. Listen, Alex Murdaugh, a disgraced lawyer, a very influential, powerful lawyer in his community, is now being held and charged with, on trial, with the murder of both his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul, 22 years young, and his wife, 52 years young. These two were, again, by all means, just going about their day, not knowing that what was going to happen to them. And, you know, innocent until proven guilty. That's always what we talk about here. Again, on the night of June 8th of 2021, they were both viciously murdered by shotgun at their kennel on their property. And, you know, there's so much to go into here. There's so much to unpack. Ed Wallace and I are going to cover the forensic side of this thing, and we are going to get into it. But it's been, I just want to get a pool from the chat. I always love to find out what you guys in the chat are doing. Did you guys hear in the chat, how many of you had the time to watch all 20 days of this trial? And I'm going to say, I'm going to put a number 2 because I didn't get to see it. If you watched almost all of the trial, put a 1 in the chat. If you were able to see some of it, like me, put a number 2 in the chat. I'd like to see how many people are, you know, again, paying close attention to this trial. Good to see you, Janine. Thank you for joining. Brenda, Lexi's here. Mark Prince is putting a 2 in the chat. I see Doug. I see a couple of folks. Allison is here putting in her 2 cents. Sean watched the entire 20 days. No way is the prosecution proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Hey, we're going to get into that. You know, listen, there's so many people that say it's a slam dunk. The defense doesn't stand a chance. There's so much to report on here. And I'm going to go over a timeline with you guys from the beginning, because, you know, Maggie and Paul aren't the only 2 victims here. There is many other people, just like Chad and Lori Daybell, Shallow Vallow. There were so many people that were in the path of their destruction. I think the same situation holds true here with Alex Murdaugh. There's been so many people and so many folks that have been affected by this guy. And, you know, liar, untruthful, deceitful, scamming business, you know, transactions and so forth. Again, people can argue, what does this have to do with this murder trial? I think the prosecution has done a really good job of establishing some of his motives and some of the possible motives. Listen, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. All the defense has to do is give reasonable doubt to these jurors. And if the jury has a reasonable doubt, we could be looking at, you know, a hung jury. We could be looking at anything here. But if you want wait to the end of this and you're going to get my opinion on this thing. Hey, folks, let's just play real quick. This is from Friday. I want to play this for you, and you guys could listen into what some of the news outlets had to say. This is from Friday.
Breaking news. After weeks of testimony, the prosecution in the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial rested its case today. Their final witness revealing to the jury the exact movements of Murdaugh the day someone murdered his wife, Maggie, and son, Paul. Our Brooke Butler joins us live from outside the Colleton County Courthouse. And Brooke, the witness cited data investigators just acquired this past Saturday.
Yeah, Riley, that data comes from Alec Murdaugh's 2021 Chevrolet Suburban. It reveals exactly where Murdaugh drove the day of the murders and how fast he was going. Friday, Slide Special Agent Peter Radofsky took the stand. He went over new data pulled from Alec Murdaugh's car. It reveals Murdaugh's exact movements the day someone murdered his wife, Maggie, and son, Paul.
All right, so now we're at where Alex is leaving for Alameda. This is going to be 9:07:06 p.m.
Prosecutors pointed out on his way to Alameda, Murdaugh seemed to accelerate as he passed the area on Moselle Road where investigators found Maggie's cell phone. But the defense was quick to question this.
Is it fair to say he's continuing a fairly gentle acceleration?
I would say so, yes.
Radofsky testified Friday. Data shows Murdaugh was only at Alameda for about 20 minutes the night of the murders. Murdaugh previously told investigators he had been there 45 minutes to an hour.
What was the arrival time?
9:22.
And he's leaving at what time?
9:43.
Radofsky testified on Murdaugh's drive back to the Moselle property. He hit 80 miles per hour, which he said can be a dangerous speed on that road, given the deer and the road itself.
The road was, was a lot of potholes.
Radofsky said Murdaugh arrived back at the Moselle house at 10 o'clock. He got to the kennels at 10:05:57.
How many seconds is that from the time that the Suburban arrives at the kennels and he calls 911?
Roughly 20 seconds.
But defense attorney Philip Barber pointed out there's a chance that Murdaugh could have quickly sensed something was very wrong.
If the person getting out of the car had seen the bodies already and already knew something was horribly wrong, do you believe that that is an unreasonably short period of time to inspect and call 911?
The prosecution wrapped up its case by showing the jury this text message Paul sent to his dad a couple weeks before the murders.
It says, "I am still in EB because when you get here, we need to talk. Mom found several bags of pills in your computer bag."
They also showed Google searches from Maggie Murdaugh from that same day before ending with photos of the family.
And Brooke, now that the state has rested, the defense has started calling witnesses.
Yeah, Riley. They first called Richard Harvey. He's the county coroner. He testified today that Maggie and Paul could have died anywhere between 8 and 10 p.m. 9 o'clock was just a rough estimate. The defense also called up Shalane Tyndall. She is the former lead spokesperson for the Colleton County Sheriff's Office. They really grilled her on why law enforcement released a statement saying there was no threat to the public after the murders of Maggie and Paul. Right.
So now I wanted to just circle back with you guys before we get into this, because the 8 and 10 p.m., that's a big, broad time. But when we look at the Snapchat video that was posted by Paul, the son, 8:44 Snapchat video inside the kennel, and the audio, we heard testimony from the audio of the Snapchat and representatives that our law enforcement liaison, each of the social medias like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm not sure 100% on TikTok, but I know Snapchat has it. The law enforcement liaison team, they deal with subpoenas and so forth. We heard the testimony that at 8:44 p.m., snap video in the kennel, and you could hear Paul's voice on there, and there was testimony from a close family friend that the voices were heard on there. The male voice was Alex Murdaugh, and also Maggie. So I feel that the Snapchat and some of the text messaging and OnStar information that we heard that was recovered by the experts from the SLED team. I think that this is going to be enough. And people in the chat and folks on direct messages and sending emails and messages to me on DutyRon.com are saying a lot of different things. But the evidence at the end of the day and the testimony is what's going to be compelling here, and that's what's the jury is going to have to sit and go over and look at. So let's see what happens in the coming days with the defense. But before we get into that, I wanted to go over and listen. I know that everybody has their opinions, and I really feel strongly about this case, and I think that justice will be served here for the victims, and not only for the Murdaugh family, the wife and son, but look at the other folks that are part of the aftermaths, like Stephanie Smith and Gloria Satterfield. She was the housekeeper who allegedly fell in the house. So I'm going to go over a little bit of the timeline because there's so much to this. And I'm not going to do a deep dive here, ladies and gentlemen, because Ed Wallace is back in the country. There's so much to this case. There's so many moving parts. But Ed and we're going to go over with a forensic cell phone expert, cell and computer crimes expert this week coming up. So that's why I'm doing this video here to set everything up. I'm going to go from the beginning, starting from 1920, going straight to the crime, the crime scene that we are now having this trial over on that fateful night in June of 2021. So I'm going to put it up on the screen. I feel that this news outlet did a great job with coverage here. So I'm going to give them credit down below in the description. Let me get myself on here. Let me know in the chat if you guys can see this timeline that I have here up on the screen. I just want to read it with you guys so you can get a little bit of a background on this thing. Here we have it, and this is what we just watched and listened to. It's WJCL 22 ABC, and I think they did a great job on this coverage here. So Murdaugh Murders interactive map, 1920 to 2005. For 3 generations, members of the Murdaugh family served as South Carolina's 14th District Solicitors, the top prosecutor representing Beaufort, Jasper, Hampton, Allendale, and Colleton counties. July 8th of 2015, this is when things started to go south. Stephanie Smith, 19, is found dead on Sandy Run Road in Hampton County. No arrest is made in the case. February 2nd, 2018, Gloria Satterfield, 57, falls at the Murdaugh family home on Moselle Road in Colleton County. For more than 2 decades, she had served as the family's housekeeper and nanny. Now, fast forward to February 26th of 2018, Satterfield dies from her injuries. According to the court documents, Alex Murdaugh tells Satterfield's son that he was responsible and plans to sue himself, so they are financially taken care of. The family says that they never received any money. How about that? How about those apples? What a real nice guy. February 24th of 2019, a whole year later, Mallory Beach, 19, goes missing after a boat crash near Paris Island. A 911 call is placed from the scene of the crash at Archer's Creek. And this is the crash that his son, Paul, was involved in. And I'm going to play this little clip here because this piece is important. But if you suffer from PTSD or anything like that, I'm going to put a statement out right now. If you suffer from any type of PTSD, please click off and then come on back. But here's the coverage from the boating accident.
County Sheriff's Office, where I just picked up the 911 calls from the night of the boat crash. Now, just as a fair warning to our viewers, the audio you'll hear may contain some material that might be hard to listen to.
Next to the sounds of the Low Country's calming waves came a call that was anything but.
What bridge is Paul? What bridge is this?
The chaos you're hearing is the 911 calls of the night 19-year-old Mallory Beach disappeared.
911, where's your emergency? Hello? Police fire ambulance. Hello?
In audio obtained by WJCL 20, 2 News emergency calls capture the frightening scene of an early morning boat crash near Paris Island.
Tell everybody to just try and stay as calm as they can, okay? I know it's hard.
6 passengers, the caller says.
All 5 of us are on the bank, but we're missing one person.
Right, okay.
And the missing woman they mentioned was Mallory Beach.
Please send someone.
No, I'm coming. We're calling, okay?
That week, state and local agencies sent helicopters, diver teams, and patrol boats, all looking for the missing Hampton teen. And the next weekend, emergency responders received this call.
911, where's your emergency?
This is Kenny Campbell. We're on the search team rescue. We think we found her.
We've reached out to the Department of Natural Resources for an update on the investigation, but they have yet.
So there you have it. Again, I'm just going to try to go through this timeline because it is tremendous. There's a tremendous amount of information here. And I'm going to continue to fly through this with you guys. So on March 3rd, following a week of searches, the boater discovers Mallory's body, as we just heard in that audio. March of 2019, the Beach family files a wrongful death lawsuit against the Beaufort County Bar, convenience store, and 2 homeowners, all of whom the suit claims served Beach and her underage friends alcohol the night of the crash. The lawsuit was later amended to only name Richard Alexander Alex Murdaugh Sr., Richard Alexander Buster Murdaugh Jr., and Parker's convenience store. So it was amended. So this is just, again, the coverage of the lawsuits. April of 2019, Paul Murdaugh is indicted on charges of boating under the influence causing the death and 2 counts of boating under the influence causing great bodily injury. May of 2019, fast forward a month later, Murdaugh pleads not guilty to all charges. And there's also context in this, and I'm going to link this down below in the description so you guys can go and watch all of these videos. But if I played all these videos, it would be a 5-hour live stream. On June 4th of 2021, court-ordered mediation in the wrongful death lawsuit fails, which appears to make the case bound for trial. On June 7th of 2021, Alex Murdaugh discovers the bodies of his son. This is fast-forwarding to the crime. This is fast-forwarding to the crime. June 7th, 2021. Again, earlier I said June 8th, so my apologies for getting that date wrong. I had it written down, and I read it wrong. I had June 7th, 2021. Alex Murdaugh discovers the bodies of his son, Paul, and his wife, Maggie, at their 1,770-acre hunting lodge on Moselle Road in Islanden, Colleton County. A 911 call is placed at 10:07 p.m. And we're going to listen to this.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency? This is Alex Murdaugh at 4147 Moselle Road. I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child just shot badly. Okay, you said 4147 Moselle Road in Allison? Sir? You said 4147 Moselle Road in Allison? Yes, sir. 4147 Moselle Road. Stay on the line with me, okay? Yes, sir. Stay on the line with me, okay? Hello? I'm still here. Stay on the line. I'm still here, okay? Colleton, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot. Mr. Murdaugh, go ahead and talk to Colleton. It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad. Okay.
Colleton County Communications.
Colleton, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot.
Okay, and sir, give me the address again.
It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
Are they in a vehicle?
No, ma'am. They're on the ground out at my kennels.
Okay, and did you see anyone? Okay, is he breathing at all?
No, nobody.
Is she? Okay, do you see anything? Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
What color is your house on the outside? What color is your house on the outside?
It's white. You can't see it from the road.
Okay, is it a house or a mobile home?
It's a house.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Alex Murdaugh.
Okay, and did you hear anything, or did you come home and find them?
No, man, I've been gone. I just came back.
When he just said there was used heavily by the prosecution, that he said, no, ma'am, I haven't been here. I've been gone. I just came back. And they were able to, I believe, prove that he was there. So this is interesting to hear this 911 call. I'm going to let just a little bit more of this play, but it's another 5 minutes, so I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Okay, and was anyone else supposed to be at your house?
No, ma'am. Please hurry.
We're getting somebody out there to you.
Oh.
Okay, what is her name?
Maggie and Paul.
Maggie is her name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And please hurry.
We're getting somebody out there to you. Me asking you these questions, don't slow them down, okay? And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them's moving.
What is your telephone number? And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really. No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. A favor, Mr. Murdaugh, and turn on the flashers on your car so that way they can see where the kennels are.
All right, so I wanted to just get you guys' opinion on this. Based on that call, I mean, it's hard to obviously judge from just that call, but there was a lot of things that were scrutinized in regards to this 911 call. A lot of there's body cam footage that goes with this as well. And I listen, I'm not a body language expert. By no means, but I have interrogated many suspects and subjects. I've been I've sat in on many interviews and interrogations, and there was a lot of things that he was doing by body language wise, by like turning his body away when he was answering and showing his emotion and turning away and so forth. We're going to get into that with Ed Wallace, and we're going to get a body language expert on with us to talk about this. So the county sheriff's office responds and secures the crime scene. South Carolina State Law Enforcement, the SLED team division, is contacted at 10:28 p.m. Let me put this on the screen as we're reading it. 10:28 p.m. And let me know if you could see I know that the wording here and stuff. Let me just see if I can make it bigger for you guys. Hold on. Let me see if I could make this just a tad bit bigger. How is that? Does that help a little bit with being able to view what I'm reading to you guys? So the SLED team is contacted at 10:28 p.m. To assist. SLED agents arrive at 11:47 p.m. Murdaugh family friend Tangi Omero tells WJCL it was just siren after siren. Here's the body cam footage. I'm going to play just a little bit for you. It's 39 minutes. So let's let this rock for a minute.
Whiskey Fox, Whiskey Mike, both gunshot wounds to the head.
Sir,
I'm not going to play it all.
Because of the scene, I did go get a gun and bring it down here.
It's in your vehicle? Do you have any guns on you at all?
No, sir. It's leaning up against the side of my car.
Okay. You're fine, man. You're fine. Turn around for me.
I don't have any.
Okay. Yes, sir. I see that. Okay. This is your wife and son?
And son.
Okay.
This officer has to do that for his safety, obviously. I would have searched him a little bit,
It's
pockets.
bad. Check the pulses.
Yes, sir.
I know it was a hectic situation there.
This is the firearm you brought from inside the house?
Sir, yes, sir. I went and got. This is a long story. My son was in a boat wreck a few months back. He's been getting threats. Most of it's been benign stuff we didn't take serious.
Okay.
He's been getting like punched. I know that's somebody. I know that's what it is.
Okay. When did you get home? Right when you called, or did you go to the house first? Where is the house?
I came to the house first. My mom has late stages Alzheimer's, and my dad is in the hospital.
Okay.
I left. I don't know what time. I can go back on my phone and tell you the exact times. Did you check?
Okay. Did I?
All right, I'm going to pause it just for a second. By a show of hands in the chat, who here feels that he's guilty? Press a 1. If you feel that he is not guilty and that they haven't proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he killed both his wife and his son, press a 2. Let's see what this reveals. I'm going to put my number 1 in the chat already. I'm going to chime in with you guys. There's my number 1. And if you feel it's a number 2 and they haven't proved beyond a reasonable doubt, I like that. I love to see everybody back and forth because listen, my good friend Karen, Legal Minded Friends, who is a great friend, she is an attorney in the UK and she says number 2. She puts a number 2. I'd like to see what any other attorneys. I know my good friend Pete, the lawyer, Pete Tragos. He's a pro and he's waving on the side of caution. I'd like to see what Miss Burkhart has to say about this. So I will check in with them. Allison BDH says number 2. Tiny Dancer says not guilty. So I present this to the folks who say he's not guilty. Who do you think did it? Who killed both his wife and his son? That's the question I would present to you. And just curious what you guys think. Who is the perpetrator here? Is it an unknown, like in the O.J. Simpson case? Is that an unsolved murder? Is the murderer still running around who killed those 2 innocent folks? Just a question to ponder.
Check what?
Did you check them?
We got medical guys that are that's what they're gonna do. Okay.
What are they doing? Can they hurry?
They are. Yes, sir. That gentleman that was out here already, he's one of the battalion chiefs. Okay. How did you pull up? You from back there?
I went to the house and they weren't home, which was odd. I tried to call.
Okay.
And then I knew they had been down here before I left to go to my mom's.
Okay.
And so that is loaded.
Okay.
You might want to unload it. But
Is this the only firearm with you? This is the only one, or is there any more in the truck?
I believe that's it.
You think that's the only one? Okay.
I'm 99%.
Do you normally
certain that's
have
right.
any other firearms in your vehicle?
I don't, but
Okay.
occasionally there's a pistol in there.
Okay.
Arms crossed.
Just wait right here for me for a second, okay?
How many people have we seen in the past? And I could name cases right off the top of my head who stood before us and that were guilty of killing their significant others. I can name 5 right off the top of my head.
last I can't see. Six five three outside.
I feel bad for the dogs.
Go ahead, sir.
You know, throughout this whole thing, you hear the dogs barking and so forth. I thought of the dogs too in this situation. You know, obviously the victims come first, you know, Maggie and Paul. But, throughout this whole 39 minutes of body cam, you hear those dogs yelping and crying.
Dead on
I just turned on those.
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
Randy. Maggie's caller dead. Where are you now? All right. Yeah, the police are here now. The police are here now.
Affirmative.
That's my brother.
Okay. When was the last time you were here with them, or talked to them, or anything like that?
It was earlier tonight. I don't know the exact time, but
Okay.
I left. I was probably gone an hour and a half from my mom's, and I saw them about 45 minutes before that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this afternoon in the pickup truck.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check them?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check them?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
He said, did someone go and check on them? Is it official that they're dead? And he said, yes, sir, they are.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
And he was going into, grieving, crying, emotions. And then he said he was sorry, which I thought was interesting.
For that.
Okay.
I rode around with Paul for 2 hours this
Listen here.
afternoon in the pickup
Listen to
truck.
this.
That's your son, Paul? Okay.
Somebody going to check them?
Yes, sir. They've already checked them.
They did check them?
Yes, sir.
It's official that they're dead?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm very sorry. Gotta call her parents.
What's her name?
Her name is Maggie Murdaugh. Margaret Brandstetter Murdaugh. How you doing?
What's her birthday?
9/15/68.
Okay. And what's your son's first name? You said Paul?
Paul Terry Murdaugh.
And what's his birthday?
Jason, do you have anybody
4.
coming through town that could stop and pick up that tent? I see lighting off in the distance.
What are they covering them up?
I got some getting dressed now, Sheriff. I'll have somebody stop and grab it.
Tell them
He
they don't
asked
have
if
to
they
do
were
that.
covering them up.
They don't need to. Preserve what we can.
653. Where's it at? I'm in town.
I should try to be Delta 8 because he's going to be the only one that's got access.
What's
to where
Paul's
it is
birthday?
right now.
Copy.
April 14th, 1999, sir.
Put it up as wide as you can. That's fine. You said 99?
Sir?
He was born in 99?
Thank you for the super chat. So she sends in a super chat and says, I just want to highlight that because I feel it's an important message. I think that the jury will find he's done plenty enough to deserve a conviction. It's not about whether he did plenty enough. It's about what's presented to them as evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he in fact did kill his wife and his son. So that's the important part, and that's part of the judicial system. So Kelly says put him under the jail, and a lot of people feel that he's not guilty. A few people feel that it was a hired hit and so forth, and that there was other weapons that were used. You know, here's Freddie York chimes in with $20 super chat. Thank you. People familiar prior to trial think he did it. People who are only watching the trial, actually watching, think the state hasn't proven guilt. I've never heard him until day one, and the state hasn't come close to convincing me. Hey, listen, opinions, everybody's got them. And that's the great part about this, is that we can all agree to disagree here. But at the end of the day, it really only matters to what the jury comes up with at the end of this. And I think that's what's important. So on June 8th of 2021, the authorities confirmed the identities of the deceased, referring the incident as a double homicide. However, they say there is no threat to the public. So I'll let this little piece play here.
Paul Murdaugh were identified. Low Country family were discovered overnight. You're looking at a map showing where their bodies were found on Moselle Road in Islandtown. Our Danae Bucci joins us now live from the scene with what we know so far. Danae. Shannon, Margaret, and Paul Murdaugh were identified by the Colleton County Coroner's Office earlier this afternoon. It was a long day for investigators at this property in Islandton, a rural area north of Barnville in Colleton County. The bodies of Margaret and Paul Murdaugh were found at 10 p.m. Monday night. The Colleton County Coroner's Office tells us preliminary results show both died from gunshot wounds. Margaret Murdaugh was 52 and was the mother of Paul Murdaugh, who was 22. Their bodies were discovered at a family hunting lodge off Mossel Road. According to county records, Maggie owned the property. The State Law Enforcement Division has joined the investigation into their death.
Thank you so much, Candy E, for gifting 10 memberships out into the Crime Time with DutyRon community. Thank you so much for that. Candy E, your generosity is much appreciated.
And the law firm where the Murdaughs worked sent out a statement on Facebook earlier today saying they appreciate everyone's patience and prayers during this time. Shannon?
So this is the early reports, and I want to get to, there's so much more, so I want to get to all of the coverage. So this is, again, body cam footage. June 11th, a graveside service is held at Hampton Cemetery for both Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. June 14th, the Colleton County coroner confirms both Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, this is 2021, died from multiple gunshot wounds, not one, multiple gunshot wounds. The estimated time of death is somewhere between 9 and 9:30. Now this changes because we heard them talk about between 8 and 10 o'clock and the closing arguments and during the trial. June 16th, the 2021, SLED creates a 24-hour dedicated tip line. June 17th, the Murdaugh brothers, Randy and John, appear on an exclusive interview with ABC News in which they plead with the public to come forward with any information. Again, this is in 2021. June 21st, SLED releases a handful of heavily redacted documents which made us all go crazy, shedding light on what deputies discovered the night of the murder. And then a few days later, on the 23rd of June of 2021, based on information gathered in the Murdaugh investigation, SLED says it's looking into a 2015 death of Stephen Smith in Hampton County. SLED does not elaborate on what information it obtained. Let's take a listen to this.
South Carolina law and
the mother and son murder mystery in South Carolina widens. Another death investigation in the Low Country now being looked at again. Our Riley Miller joins us now from the newsroom. And Riley, we've been following this story for a while now. What's the latest?
Shannon, as officials continue to look into the deaths of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, SLED has reopened an investigation into the 2015 death of a teen. South Carolina Law Enforcement Division has opened an investigation into the death of Stephen Smith, based off information gathered during the course of the Murdaugh murder case. Smith was found dead in the middle of a Hampton County road back in 2015. No arrests were ever made.
And they said he was shot in the head. And
I feel so bad for this woman, Sandy Smith, because she says here in this interview, nobody cares about us because we're just poor people. And those words to that effect that she said made my heart break. And by a show of hands here in the chat, who feels so horribly for this family? People were saying, and it was alleged that he was hit by Alec Murdaugh while he was taking his pills or doing his drugs or alcohol, and was covered up. There's just so many different stories. It goes from odd to odder, but I really feel my heart breaks for this woman. So I'll back this up just a little bit. And this is his mom.
And then it turned out it was a hit and run, and then he was beat up, and so the story just kept changing. I just couldn't believe it, but when they told me hit and run, I said that's impossible, because Stephen wouldn't have been walking in the road to start with. He would have cut through the woods. He would not have been in the highway.
Really sad. So for me, let's just listen to the rest of this.
SLED has not said what information was gathered or how it relates to the Murdaughs.
So it just keeps getting more bizarre as time goes on. June 25th of 2021, members of the Murdaugh family formally announced a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest in the double homicide. July 7th, 2021, attorneys representing the survivor of the boat crash that killed Mallory Beach filed a petition alleging law enforcement tried to shift the blame from Paul Murdaugh to their client, Connor Cook. We all remember this. July 14th of 2021, during a court hearing, Circuit Judge Bentley Price said he would review the redactions made by the SLED team in publicly released documents pertaining to the case, and if he felt they weren't legal, order more information released. July 22nd, 2021, SLED releases the 911 call placed by Murdaugh, which we played already, the night Paul and Maggie were killed. August 6th, People magazine spotlights the double homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. The South Carolina Attorney General's office drops all charges against Paul in the death of Mallory Beach due to his own death. And that commonly happens when we have someone who stands accused of a heinous crime. When they become deceased or they're murdered in this case, they present the death certificate to the court, to the judge in the courthouse, and they drop the charges. August 11th, 2021. Let me know in the comment section if you felt that Paul would have been convicted of the charges levied against him. Let me know in the comments if you feel that he would have been found guilty of this had he not been murdered allegedly by his father. I'm just curious what everybody thinks on that front. August 11th, 2021, Alex Murdaugh, joined by Corey Fleming, gives several inconsistent answers while being interviewed by the SLED investigators. Gosh, this is an hour and 24 minutes, but let's take a listen to a little bit.
Who's down to your right? Jeff Croft. Who's testified? Jeff, you still
Here. Is that here in the back?
You start with the closest person and or the person who found the deceased. Both cases, that's Alec.
Remember, he's confident here because he's an attorney and he knows what to say and what not to say, and he's had a really good amount of time to rehearse. He didn't just get pulled into this interview unbeknownst to him. He wasn't taken by surprise here. I'll just say that.
Everybody stays in that investigation until we can get them out. And right now, because of the questions that I have that I need explanations for, I cannot get Alec out.
Okay. That's a reasonable statement. I don't have any problem with that statement. That's fine.
All right. I'm going to let this, I'm going to let you guys watch it yourself. On the 14th, August 17th, 2021, following a Freedom of Information Act requested by WJCL, they received photos and videos from South Carolina Attorney General's office collected as evidence following the boat crash that killed Mallory Beach. September 2nd, 2021, the PMPED law firm begins an investigation into Alex Murdaugh after finding a suspicious check on his desk. And this is the infamous checks. They say their investigation reveals that Murdaugh had been taking money from the firm and clients for his own personal use. September 3rd, 2021, Murdaugh is confronted about accusations of taking money from PED. He is asked to resign, and he does so that afternoon. I don't know many people who would resign if they felt that they were not guilty of said actions. Again, there's an argument that all of this, how do you tie this into his murder trial? Why did they bring it up? And we'll leave that to the attorneys to talk about, because I'm not an attorney. September 4th, longtime friend and fellow attorney Chris Wilson confronts Murdaugh after finding out that he had been stealing from him. Wilson asks Alex to admit to it, apologizes, and he says he's been addicted to opioids for 20 years. So he admits to it. He blames it on his opioid addiction for about 2 decades. Hours later, Alex Murdaugh is shot in the head while changing a tire. This is the infamous staged shooting incident while changing a tire in Hampton County, according to a family spokesman person. SLED is investigating. He's hospitalized in Savannah and said to be conscious and speaking. Let's take a listen to this.
Death in an unsolved case 3 months ago. Alec Murdaugh, whose wife and son were found shot to death in an unsolved case 3 months ago, was shot himself on a rural Hampton County road yesterday. Now the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division is releasing new information. SLED says Alec called 911 at around 1:30 on Saturday. He told a dispatcher he'd been shot on Old Salkehatchie Road near Varnville. We're told Murdaugh's gunshot wound was, quote, superficial. SLED personnel arrived on scene to investigate at around 3:40. They worked throughout the night collecting evidence, processing the crime scene, interviewing potential witnesses, and following up on potential leads.
Interesting, right? I mean, this case is so bizarre. There's so much to it. Net Detective says fire the CEO. Comments like that, I always love to hear the people that are chiming in. And listen, hey, folks, again, I'm just covering the outline of this thing. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to have a conversation here with it. Again, innocent until proven guilty. We all know that. And the trial is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. And I think real soon we're going to hear about this. And that should be at least in the coming weeks, I feel. And who knows, maybe as soon as the end of this week, we might know something, depending on how much time it takes them to deliberate. September 6th of 2021, Murdaugh releases a statement that says, in part, he is resigning from his law firm and entering rehab. Later that day, the law firm says Murdaugh was stealing money from them. This is disappointing news for all of us. Rest assured that our firm will deal with this in a straightforward manner. There's no place in our firm for such behavior, the law firm said in a statement. And this is just media. Alex meets with the SLED sketch artist for several hours to make a composite. This is a big waste of time. September 7, 2021, based on the information gathered at the site of the roadside shooting, a search warrant is executed at the home of Curtis Edward Smith. During the search, a sales ledger is discovered. Remember this name, Curtis Edward Smith. South Carolina Supreme Court suspends Murdaugh's law license. Well, it was about time, effective immediately. September 9th of 2021, following a Freedom of Information Act, this news agency receives an incident report from the Hampton County Sheriff's Office regarding law enforcement response to the Murdaugh shooting. Roadside attack report released. Hampton County Sheriff reports Murdaugh shooting, and this is just the coverage of it.
His law license and are now investigating him. All of this following the shooting death of his wife and son back in June.
Unbelievable. September 10th, a spokesperson representing Murdaugh releases a statement saying, in part, the shooting was not self-inflicted. He has sustained a skull fracture and the gunman was driving a blue pickup truck. September 12th, the next day, Murdaugh reportedly admits to his son Buster and brothers Randy and John Marvin Murdaugh that he staged the roadside shooting and was trying to kill himself so that Buster could get $10 million life insurance policy. Murdaugh also tells his attorney Jim Griffin and Dick Harpleton September 13th, SLED announces its open investigation into claims Murdaugh was misappropriating funds from his former law firm. He's done that quite a bit. Drugs is what he blames it on. He has had a 20-year drug and opioid addiction problem. So September 14th, Chris Edward Smith, 61, is arrested in connection to the assisted suicide shooting of Murdaugh. Authorities say Murdaugh admits that the scheme was set up so that his surviving son could collect $10 million life insurance policy. Let's take a listen to this.
Shannon Royster walks us through the new developments.
South Carolina authorities say they took 61-year-old Curtis Edward Smith into custody Tuesday. SLED says Alec Murdaugh told Smith to shoot and kill him. They say Murdaugh admitted to the scheme Monday, so Murdaugh's son could collect a $10 million life insurance policy. It was on September 4th when Murdaugh called 911 shortly after 1:30 in the afternoon to report that he had been shot on the side of a road. A family spokesperson said Murdaugh pulled off due to a low tire light, that a male driver in a blue pickup truck drove past him and then came back, asking if he was having car trouble, and that's when he was shot. He was airlifted to a hospital in Savannah with what authorities say was a superficial gunshot wound to the head. But the incident report released by the Hampton County Sheriff's Office initially checking the box, no visible injuries. Murdaugh's team pushed back. They released new details about his injuries, saying he had entry and exit wounds, and his skull had been fractured, leading authorities to correct that report, now saying there were visible injuries. Murdaugh's family has been the focus of national attention since the brutal, unsolved murders of his wife, Maggie, and 22-year-old son, Paul, this past June.
Are they breathing?
No, ma'am. My wife and my son.
And what is your name?
My name is Alec Murdaugh. Please hurry. Neither one of them's moving.
Murdaugh called 911 after finding their bodies, both shot multiple times near the family's hunting lodge. His brothers spoke to ABC News at the time, saying their brother is searching for answers.
Is willing and still is willing to do anything that's asked of him. He wants this solved.
Just one day before Alex Murdaugh said he was shot, the law firm that his family spent decades building announced it had reported to law enforcement and the state bar that Alec had stolen money from the firm.
Shocking. All right, I'm gonna stop that because I want to get through all of this with you guys. Thank you, Pete Pranzo, and thank you to everybody in the chat. Listen, again, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions, but just do it respectfully. There's no need to attack, me or anybody in the chat. I didn't see any of that. I'm just saying, leave me comments. Let me know what your thoughts are, because this is really the first time that I'm publicly speaking about this. And I'm trying to get this whole timeline down. September 15th, 2021, Smith appears by video for court charges of distribution of methamphetamine because it was his first offense. He was able to post a $5,000 bond. His next appearance was on November 8th. Smith is transferred to the Hampton County Court to face charges in connection to the shooting. Alec Murdaugh is named the chief defendant in a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the sons of longtime Murdaugh housekeeper and nanny, Gloria Satterfield. SLED announces that it's opening a criminal investigation into the Satterfield death. Let's listen to this.
Investigation into the 2018 death of the Murdaugh family housekeeper. Gloria Satterfield was the family's housekeeper for over 2 decades. Court documents indicate she died in 2018 after a trip and fall accident in the Murdaugh home. In a letter to SLED, the Hampton County coroner believes there are inconsistencies with the manner of her death. As a result of that letter, SLED looking into her death and the handling of her estate.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I feel strongly that there's just so much surrounding what happened, the events on that fateful June evening. On September 16th of 2021, Murdaugh turns himself into authorities in the Hampton County Detention Center. Let's take a look at this. This is only 9 seconds of him being brought in. There's no audio here. This is just him being taken into custody. Let's move forward. Murdaugh's given a $20,000 bond for insurance fraud charges stemming from his attempted suicide plot. He's ordered back into court on October 25th. and there's 29 minutes of video of him being transferred. Smith's also given a $55,000 bond for his charges. He was released from custody noon and ordered back in court November 8th. September 17th, they take a look at whether Murdaugh is receiving preferential treatment in the court as well as the severity of his head wounds. September 18th, in a new interview, the New York Post, Curtis Edward Smith says he's being set up by Murdaugh. What's your thoughts on that setup? I mean, this is, again, just so much slimy garbage going on with this guy. I mean, it looked like he just was a tornado, and anybody and everyone that he came into contact with, he looked to have them take the fall for his issues and problems. That's my read on it. Connor Cook, on September 20th of 2021, who was on board the boat the night Mallory Beach was killed, files a lawsuit in Hampton County against Murdaugh, his son Buster Murdaugh, as well as Gregory M. Parker, Inc., and Parker's employees, Tahid Cohen, for the alleged role in the crash. There's involved alcohol as well. September 23rd, 2021, SLED releases a statement saying agents have uncovered other potential crimes as a part of the investigation into the double homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern Carolina, so District of South Carolina, have been contacted.
In the FBI computers after
Well, breaking right now tonight, involving the Murdaugh family mystery.
state investigators have called in the FBI and federal prosecutors after they say they've uncovered other potential crimes that warrant further investigation. The discovery was made while investigating the deaths of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. There were no specifics on what those potential crimes were or who might be involved. We do know from previous reporting that based on information obtained during the killings, that investigators have already reopened the investigation into the death of Stephen Smith. Smith was found along a road in Hampton County in 2015. SLED Chief Mark Keel said in a statement, "Our agents remain committed to following the facts no matter where they lead us." The agency has a 24-hour tip line.
So there you have it. Let's move along because I got a lot more to cover here. September 27th, 2021, paperwork filed in Hampton County. The sons of Gloria Satterfield say that they want Murdaugh arrested until he pays them the money that he owes from the settlement from their mother's death. Remember, they said that she fell down the stairs, that the dog nudged her and she fell down the stairs, or some cockamamie hogwash. I say to that,
oh, hell no.
And I give it a...
What are you people? On dope?
In an interview with WJCL, Sandy Smith, the mother of Stephen Smith, says a fundraiser effort is underway to finally get Stephen his headstone. Curtis Edward Smith, gives an interview in which he says he feels betrayed by Alex Murdaugh and that he is considered Murdaugh a brother to him. Let's listen to this.
Like the $10 million life insurance policy. But it didn't work. Instead, Murdaugh told SLED what happened, so they arrested both of them. But where's the connection between the two? Through court records, we found out Murdaugh represented Smith in a personal injury lawsuit back in 2010.
Had to have 3 discs removed out the back and got rods and screws in every place of them. It's not fun.
Smith says injuries from a logging accident left him permanently disabled.
Talk to me about the pain.
It's an everyday thing. I mean, it's every day. I know it's there all day long.
Court documents indicate Smith took OxyContin for that pain, but fast forward to this month. Authorities charged Smith with distribution of meth and possession of marijuana, a drug parallel to what unfolded during Murdaugh's bond hearing.
If anyone wants to see the face of what opioid addiction does, you're looking at it.
In the days after the shooting, Murdaugh said he checked himself into rehab for substance abuse.
Is Alex somebody that you cared about?
Yeah, I say like a brother to me. I'd have done anything in the world for him, almost anyway.
I don't think there was any blood relation.
It's crushing to know that evidently I mean nothing to nobody, especially him.
Curtis says he feels betrayed.
He may also, in my eyes, be someone that he relied on to supply him with maybe some of his oxycodone or some of his drugs of choice. That could be a potential possibility as well.
Do you see the truth out there? Do you see the truth coming forward in this case?
I hope that when it's all said and done, that everybody will wind up being exactly what it's supposed to be.
So there you have it. Let me just move quickly here because I'm approaching the hour mark and I want to get all of this out. September 30th, responding to claims made by People magazine about the problems in the marriage of Alec Murdaugh and Maggie Murdaugh, a family representative releases the following statement. And then there's a whole statement. It says the most recent allegations by People magazine regarding Maggie and Alec Murdaugh marriage are totally inconsistent with what we have been told by friends and family members. Also, we have reviewed many years of text messages on Alec's phone, and the conversations between him and Maggie portrayed a very loving relationship. It's our hope that media will continue to focus on this is just all blah, blah, blah. The law firm representing the estate of Gloria Satterfield, the former housekeeper, the Murdaugh family who died back in 2018, announces that the settlement has been reached in the case. Law firm sued PAM-PED law firm files suit against Murdaugh for damages after claims he took money from them for them and clients for his own personal use. I wanted to fast forward to the trial. I want to say this about Judge Clifton Newman. I feel that he has conducted himself in such a professional manner and has handled this case really well. Let me know in the chat here and in the comments down below how you feel about Judge Clifton Newman. I think that he is handling this case with a lot of class and a lot of professionalism. So it's, to me, just awesome to see that taking place in the courtroom. You know, and a lot of people here, Best Bud says he hates Alex. He's Supermax. There's a whole bunch of people on both sides. That's just my observation of him, is that he's handled this case real well. October 14th, 2021, Murdaugh is taken into custody upon his release from a drug rehab facility in Orlando, charged with 2 counts of attaining property by false pretenses in connection with Gloria Satterfield's wrongful death settlement. He awaits extradition back to South Carolina. On October 15th, 2021, they received medical records stemming from Alex Murdaugh's assisted suicide attempt in September, which details the extent of his injuries. October 19th, he appears in a Richland County, South Carolina courtroom for a bond hearing stemming from the obtained property by false pretenses charges. Following an hour-long hearing, the judge rules that Murdaugh will be held in custody pending a psychiatric evaluation. And then we move on to October 22nd. The SLED team releases 3 911 calls placed by Murdaugh the day he reported being shot in the head in Hampton County. And then October 29th, the judge, Daniel Hall, hears the wrongful death lawsuit by the family of Mallory Beach. Hall said he would make a ruling following the week as to whether control of Murdaugh's assets should be turned over to the independent representatives. And Murdaugh does not engage in fraud to hide his money, just trying to save whatever money he had left at that time for the family to recover. November 2nd, 2021, judge freezes all of Murdaugh's assets as a part of an ongoing wrongful death case. On the 4th of October, 2021, Alec Murdaugh and Curtis Edward Smith are indicted on multiple charges by the Hampton County grand jury in connection with assisted suicide plot. November 11th, 2021, the estate of Gloria Satterfield reaches a settlement with Palmetto State Bank for an undisclosed amount of money. On November 16th, attorneys representing Satterfield family announced second and final settlement with an attorney, Corey Fleming, his former law firm, Moss, Kunn, and Fleming, and professional liability insurance carrier. The estate will continue to pursue other culpable parties who resist acceptance of responsibility in their part in the matters of Alex Murdaugh. This is, again, I want to fast forward to get to justice being served here for some of these prior victims of Alec Murdaugh. These folks, it was just power and just. I mean, I don't even know the proper words to say the way he manhandled these people with his statue of influence over the community and his professional stature. This guy really bamboozled them and railroaded these people. December 2nd, 2021, Anthony Cook, one of the people on the boat the night Mallory Beach died, files a suit against Greg Parker of Gregory M. Parker Incorporated, Parker's Corporation. That's the place who sold the beer and alcohol to everybody that was involved in that boating accident. The family of Mallory Beach files a lawsuit against Gregory Parker and several other defendants, claiming that they were harassed by those who created fake social media accounts to affect ongoing civil proceedings. This got so ugly. It really did. And I'm going to let you guys read through all of this stuff because it just goes on and on and on, back and forth about the horrible, awful things that these folks did. He definitely is a horrible man, and he did manipulate and use his power and control over a lot of people. And that's, unfortunately, this is some of the stuff that happens on a regular basis. So I wanted to get to a couple of things that I wanted to show you. I'm going to get off this timeline because, again, there's so much more. Look, I'm scrolling through it. It would take me a whole nother hour to get through this, and I'll have to do it in a second piece. But I wanted to show you quickly, folks, some of the things that I saved. I feel strongly that the cell data of not only his wife and his son, Paul, Maggie and Paul, but his GMC OnStar digital data that is provided to the court, and we heard testimony about it, the Snapchat posts and so forth. These are all going to be things that are going to be taken into account. But I want to just play a couple of things, the timeline and the Snapchats, because I think this is important that you guys hear this. And this is our friends at Law and Crime Network. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this for you guys so you could watch it. This is the Snapchat video that his son took. This is the day of the murders. This is the day Paul and Maggie were murdered.
The video you just watched was sent on Snapchat by Alec Murdaugh's son on the day he was murdered. Prosecutors allege this video proves that the disgraced lawyer was with his son Paul at their South Carolina home before he was killed. According to a Snapchat representative, that video was uploaded to Paul Murdaugh's memories at 7:39 p.m. and later sent to friends at 7:56 p.m. on June 7th, 2021.
The video we just discussed that was part of the Snapchat search warrant return?
Yes.
That you just testified was uploaded at 7:39 p.m. and sent at 7:56 p.m.?
Yes.
Later that night, Paul Murdaugh took another video on his phone, this time in their dog kennel. Listen to how many voices you hear.
Get back. Get back. Quick, Cash. Come. Quick. It's okay. Come here. It's not bad. Come here, Cash. Shit. Come here. Close to it. Cash.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Bubba. Hang on, Bubba.
That's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash. Quick.
Close friends of the Murdaugh family testified that they 100% believe Alec Murdaugh's voice is heard alongside his son Paul's and wife Maggie's in the video.
Recognize the voices on there?
I did.
Did you recognize the voices of your second family?
I did.
And what voices did you hear?
Paul's, Miss Maggie, Mr. Alec.
And how sure are you now?
Positive.
100%?
That's correct.
Expert witnesses said the video was taken at approximately 8:44 p.m., which is minutes before investigators believe Paul and Maggie were shot. Later, Alec would call 911 at approximately 10:06 p.m. to report the discovery of the bodies of his wife and son.
This is Alec Murdaugh at 4147 Moselle Road. I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child just got badly.
Family friends also testified that Alec and Paul had a close relationship. Here's a video of the father and son at Alec's 61st birthday.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, baby.
As the Murdaugh trial continues, Law and Crime will keep you updated on all the newest developments.
So let me just say this, okay? So I'm looking at the chat, and of course, everybody has their thoughts. By no way am I saying that he is guilty 100% here. What I'm saying is I feel the state has presented their case well. Now the defense will challenge all of the evidence, and we're going to see where this goes. But if you're asking me my opinion, will there be a guilty verdict in this case? I feel yes, that there will be. He will be found guilty. But again, that's my opinion. I respect yours. I could be wrong, and you could be wrong. But I think that there was a lot of compelling testimony here and a lot of electronic forensic evidence that was presented. And I think that they presented it beyond a reasonable doubt. We'll have to see who's right and wrong. We'll circle back to this. But again, innocent until proven guilty is Alex Murdaugh. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming back and forth with me on this. By a show of hands here, let me know who's going to be watching this till the conclusion, till the closing, till the verdicts come out. Press a 1 in the chat if you're going to be watching it day to day to see what happens, and press a 2 if you're just going to wait and see what happens. I know a lot of us work a 9-to-5 job, and you don't have the chance like me. I can't watch the trial all during the day. I go back at the end of the day and I listen to the highlights. But again, I'm invested in this thing because I feel that there's not just these 2 victims that stand to get justice here. There's quite a few more people that were in this man's path that were done wrong on many different levels, financially, and people that are not here to speak for themselves. So the state and the prosecution, the state, the district attorney's office, they are the voice for the voiceless. And I stand with the judge and the district attorney. And listen, again, the defense has an important role in this, and their job is to create some doubt, and that's what they're going to do. We're going to see that this week. I'm going to get some feedback from criminal defense attorney Joe Murray, Miss Burkhart, and Pete Tragos from The Lawyer You Know. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider hitting this subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Follow me and Ed Wallace on all things social media, all one word, DutyRon, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Go over to DutyRon.com. Leave me a message on what you think. And also, if you care to leave a comment down below in the comment section, I hope that you would consider subscribing and becoming a channel member or supporting this great community. We are retired New York City police detectives. I spent over 20 years in the NYPD. Ed Wallace, 27 years in and out of the crime scene unit and various other units. A retired first grade detective. He is my co-host and great friend. I hope to see you guys on the next live stream. As I always end these things, God bless the world, God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially these victims, these 2 victims here, Paul and Maggie, and the rest of the people who came into the path of this family. We send them strength, prayers, and positive vibes. Thank you so much for joining here today, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love from Crime Time with DutyRon.